Huawei makes incredible looking flagship phones. Huawei flagships have consistently dominated the smartphone photography game for the last 2 to 3 years. In fact, the P40 Pro is currently at the top of DXO Marks smartphone photography ratings table. Huawei also owns the Honor sub-brand, which also makes really good looking and great performing phones for cheaper. So safe to say, Huawei has defined itself as one of the best phone brands in the world. From 2018 through to 2020, Huawei has maintained its position as the second largest global smartphone maker by market share. But due to the recent trade wars between the United States and China, Huawei was added to the United States Entity List, which basically means that Huawei can no longer do business with or use US-owned company services, and this includes Google and their Play services. So essentially, you can no longer use Google-based services like Gmail, YouTube on your Huawei smartphone, but that's not entirely true. Let me explain. While you can no longer use the Google offered apps like Gmail and YouTube on your Huawei phone, you can basically still use these services over the web. And with the advent of web apps, you can now basically save a web page as an app on your phone. And these websites basically act like native apps. Some of these websites are so well developed that you don't get to tell the differences between them and a native app, while some aren't very nice to use. Now, while this method works and is a quick walk around if you own a Huawei phone, it however isn't a very enjoyable experience. So I guess the next question to ask is, can you sideload apps to Huawei phones and have them work? Well, yes you can, but any app that runs on Google services will not work on Huawei phones. Now, to salvage this situation, Huawei has developed its own app store called the App Gallery and has also developed something called Huawei Mobile Services, or HMS, which is an alternative to Google's Play services. So the challenge here becomes, how does Huawei get the big app owners to get their apps on the Huawei App Gallery? And are these companies willing to dedicate resources to building versions of their apps for Huawei? Well, the challenge, no, not the challenge, let me rephrase. The bone of contention here is scale. Does Huawei have the numbers to motivate these companies and app developers in general to build versions of their apps for Huawei? As much as Huawei is the second largest smartphone distributor in the world, a huge percentage of their customers, that's people who actually buy and use their phones, reside in China. According to counterpointresearch.com, in Q4 of 2019 and Q1 of 2020, 60% of Huawei's global smartphone shipments went to China. This just shows that post the trade ban by the United States, the OEM has concentrated its efforts in its home market, which fortunately for Huawei, that decision has helped it grow 12% year on year in that region. So this leaves us with 40% of Huawei's global smartphone shipments to the rest of the world. But what does this percentile come to in actual number? And is this what the software developers and companies look at? Because at the end of the day, they have to make money. Well, I checked those numbers and here's what it is. According to Statista.com, Huawei's global shipment for 2019 was 240.6 million smartphone units. 60% of this supposedly went to China. That comes to about 144.3 million phones, leaving the rest of the world with about 96.2 million smartphone units. Now, just to be a bit conservative, if we say 60% of that 96 million units actually use Western apps, Facebook, Netflix, Twitter, and the rest of them, that number comes to about 57.7 million people. So is 57.7 million people compelling enough for any developer to consider building a version of their app for Huawei? Well, I think if you had an opportunity to sell a product to 57 million people, you would definitely take the chance. Now, I'm not in the head of these companies and I can't claim to know what metrics they look at, but there's a pretty good chance that Huawei could get these companies and developers on board their platform. So the question remains, should you buy a Huawei phone? Well, if you can live with all I mentioned and you really don't care about Google services, then by all means, go ahead. Huawei has got a reputation for having some of the best built devices with incredible camera performance and manageable price points. And there's nothing that says the trade ban may not be lifted and Huawei taken off the US Entity List. This, however, is a very big maybe. So if you need to feel safe, you may want to consider looking at another brand. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was enlightening. If you have any questions or would like to discuss further, feel free to leave me a message in the comment section of this video. You can also follow me on social media at Henry Nyo to continue this discussion. Your subscription to the channel is also most welcome. Do not forget to like and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.